Hi everyone, and welcome to another Monday Memo. And on today's episode, I just want to explore a bit more deeply how we can leverage those value generating assets I've been speaking about the last number of weeks to help you achieve your potential in finance and become more influential and be involved in solving those meaningful problems for your businesses and your organizations so that you can then go on to have a more fun and rewarding career in our profession, because I do think it's a great profession. Although I do get a bit frustrated when I hear finance leaders say that, the biggest challenge, according to one survey recently by the SSON Group, a shared services outsourcing network group, saying that 95% of finance leaders believe that they have a skills gap in their organizations, in their finance teams. And that, for me, is a little frustrating because I can see that we've fantastic assets around us and that they feel that way. And then in the same breath, rather than trying to address those asset deficiencies and nurture and enhance them, they're trying to change our behavior by telling us that we need to be more commercial, we need to get in front of decisions, act more like a consultant, be a value added business partner without actually investing in our assets, in solving those deficiencies to bring us forward. And, if you think about behavior in general, I remember reading somewhere that it's quite difficult to change our behaviors anyhow. I mean, there was this survey done of heart patients, right, that had undergone heart surgery. And, it would really benefit them if they adopted a healthy lifestyle after the operation. So when the researchers looked at it, they only found that 1 out of 9 people who'd undergone heart surgery had actually adopted a healthier lifestyle. And if you think about it, it was in their interest to do so, because if they didn't, they face an increased interest of death. They had the ultimate reason for changing their behaviour, yet only 1 in 9 did. So imagine then when you try and change the behaviour of someone else, not even yourself, and then you have to try and change the behaviour of an entire group or finance team. What do you think the chances are of success of changing someone's behaviour just by telling them that they needed to do it? So, I want to come back to this idea that income follows on from assets. Value creation follows on from having the right assets in place and addressing the asset deficiencies that we have. And, I don't think it's a rocket science addressing these asset deficiencies. But let's look at assets in general, okay? Most of us, I'd hope so anyway, are living in a house or renting a house, or when we go to work, we're leaving a house. If not, we've probably not had the best finance career. But anyhow, houses, whether we're renting them or we're owning them, they're assets of some shape or format. Now imagine we're living in our house and we look up at the ceiling and notice that it's a little bit discoloured, but we said, we're quite busy at work, so we'll just carry on and hopefully nothing will happen. We'll get to it eventually. Then one day we come back from work and guess what? There's a huge hole in the ceiling with water dripping from it, with a massive plasterboard and debris all around on the floor. And we're thinking, oh my God, I've got to go clean it up. Oh my God, my wife or my partner or my husband are going to be on at me about all the mess and getting it cleaned up. And what about the kids? And oh my God, the heating bills now. It's going to cost more if I don't fix it. And oh my God, whether I do it myself or whether or not I get a contractor in, it's going to cost me money. It's a hassle. So not only are you frustrated and a bit annoyed about it, because hadn't done anything about it previously, but also the people that have to live in that house are also probably a bit frustrated about it, having to walk around the plasterboard or having to manage the kids so they don't play with all the rubble. You know, it's quite frustrating if we don't address asset efficiencies. And that's just in our home. Imagine if that happened. But we probably spend the most time in our lives at home. And then the second place we spend the most time is probably at work, right? So if it's okay to, I suppose, if we're not happy about tolerating asset deficiencies at home, why should we, for heaven's sake, be okay with tolerating asset deficiencies at work, particularly when we can do something about it, you know? It just means we'll have to either do a DIY, do it yourself approach, or get the checkbook out and get a contractor in. Now, it's funny, when I used to work in the UK, I had a side business where I used to do books of people who used to rent out their houses, so landlords. And one of the tax advantages that they had was without any receipts, they could immediately write off against their income 10% of that income for repairs and maintenance. So, it was even recognised by the tax authorities, who wouldn't be the most commercially minded people out there, that you have to invest in your assets if you want to see a return on them, to keep them at least at their current value or even enhance their value to drive more income, right? And, let's say it was, take that 10%, right? And let's say there's a finance team that supports a business turning over, 200 million euro a year. And then let's break that down. So a world-class finance team would probably cost 1% of that. So the budget for that team would be about 2 million euro. And 10% of that then is 200,000 euro. So how many finance teams are spending that 10% or those 200,000 euro on just maintaining the state of their assets? That to me is like at least the minimum we should be spending, that 10%. So I'd be curious to know if any of your employers are, because I'd be happy to give them a shout out on the show as a place that maybe we should be looking at having good careers at. And then I wonder if all that frustration is avoidable, because when you hear about the attrition in finance teams and the cost of that when it's worked out, or even the bigger one, disengagement. I was researching this recently. Gallup, what they calculated, and I don't know how they did this, but what they calculated was that when an employee is disengaged, so a finance team member is disengaged, it costs 34% of their salary. That's what's lost. So you compare that 34% against that 10%, it's a bit of a no-brainer. And not only that, we really could be thinking about using that 10% to drive more value, not just maintain value. So again, I still struggle sometimes to comprehend why, given in finance, we appreciate income follows assets, that we don't ourselves invest in our own assets. So I'd really appreciate your thoughts on this one. Either comment on the post that's gone with this episode, or connect with me on LinkedIn, or message me on LinkedIn and share your thoughts. I'd really appreciate them. And, if you found this useful, let your friends and colleagues know about it. We're on all the major platforms: iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So really appreciate you investing your time with us today. So until next time, take care of yourselves, and let's keep on building our strength in the numbers.